Students, now we shall discuss about the continuing part of political science for 9th standard, our constitution. The second session, directive principles of state policy. India adopted directive principles of state policies. Here, directive principles of state policy have been incorporated in the 4th schedule of our constitution. There are a number of schedules. Among them, in the 4th schedule, we have adopted the directive principles of state policies. Okay, so they are the basis for establishment of social and also economic equality. The directive principles of state policy has given the social and economic equality to all people of India. Yet the government cannot be questioned by a court of justice if does not implement them. That time the court is not asked anything about it or court of justice, because if it does not implement them. When the government frames new laws, and it should pay attention to these principles. So these are all very useful for our people. First one, directive principles of state policy, independent and centralized judicial system introduced. Our country, judiciary is independent and also centralized. So the courts have the authority to give board judgment in order to protect the right of people. It provides the right to people properly. Neither the legislature nor the executive has the right to interfere with the working of the judiciary. See, our government, our directive principles of state policy, that is independent and centralized judiciary system. No one questioned about judiciary. Either legislature or executive don't enter into the any jurisdictions by the judiciary system. So the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and all high courts and subordinate courts function under it. See, the judgment of court, the final judgment. Here the Supreme Court judgment is the highest judgment in the land. Next, the High Court will come and subordinate courts are under working these two about the Supreme Court. See, single citizenship here. Single citizenship here. The Constitution makes provision for single citizenship in order to curb narrow-minded provincialism. So, it gives the single citizenship here. Each and every country has given citizenship to their country people. So our country also provides single citizenship through the directive principles of state policy. See, here the citizenship in order to curb narrow-minded provincialism and promote nationalism. It gives the people promote nationalism and also provincialism to the promote nationalism. The citizens of this country have the same rights, and irrespective of their place of birth or residence, the legislature possesses the power to frame rules in this matter. So here, that citizenship has given by our government to the particular person, irrespective of their place of birth or their residential. The second point, order branches. In directive principles, our government has given order branches. Each and every male and female have 18 years of age may exercise their right to voting power. Now, what is order branches? The opportunity given to the boys and girls female above the 18 years, that is the power. Next, that is state policy bicameral legislature. The bicameral legislature will be upper house and lower house, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. See, the lower house Lok Sabha and the upper house Rajya Sabha. The central legislature is called parliament, and the parliament consists of two houses. Our central legislature is parliament. That parliament has two houses. One is upper house Lok Sabha and upper house that is called the Rajya Sabha, and lower house is called Lok Sabha. See, upper house and lower house Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Party system also in the direct state principles of society. Political parties are the pillars of a democracy. The ruling party also essential, the opposition party also essential, and some regional parties also essential to develop our country, to aware the people and ruling party. There is a multi-party system in India. Not only one party or two party, multi-party system exists in our India. The party which wins the majority of votes in the general election becomes the ruling party, whereas the rest will be the opposition party. Which the party is got the majority of the votes through the general election. That is the ruling party. The another party that will be the opposition parties. Okay, through the election they are selecting. The fundamental rights and duties also given by directive principles of our state. The fundamental rights provide the social and political atmosphere necessary for the development of the personality of citizens. So, rights and duties are essential to development of any person in our country. That's why our country has given that right. They are required for a person to lead a civilized life in society. They are also essential for the success of democracy. So, duties and rights, these are helpful to the development of personality of life of people, and also essential to development of our success of democracy. See, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights. Last one, sixth right, right to move the poor. Fundamental rights and duties here. How many fundamental rights are mentioned here? There are 7 fundamental rights mentioned in the third part of our Constitution. Where our fundamental rights are mentioned, the third part of our Constitution mentioned about 7 fundamental rights. However, after the 44th Amendment, the right to property has been abolished. Nowadays, right to property are also abolished. According to 44th Amendment, there are 6 fundamental rights are present nowadays. Equality, freedom, against exploitation, freedom to religion, educational rights, and cultural and educational rights. First, right to equality, Article 14 to 18. See, this right is very essential for the success of democracy. Under this, all citizens are equal socially and economically before the law. Right to equality. Each and every person, those who are lived in the Indian soil, they were equal before the law. By socially and economically, they were equal. That gives the opportunity to each and everyone. All are equal before the law, and nobody is above the law and law. All should get equal protection of the law, right to equality, and no one should be discriminated against on the basis of their caste, religion, gender, or place of birth. Here, no one discriminated on the basis of religion, caste, class, and also the place of birth, gender. Don't make any discriminate because of already given the right to equality, Article 14 to So all are equal in front of law. No citizen should be subjected to any restrictions with regard to access to shops. There is no restriction to go and come, do any activities in the shop or public restaurants and any hotels and places of public entertainment or public places of worship. This right has been enabled various citizens to get an equal opportunity to join government service. So these are all the services happening nowadays in all of life. There is no restriction to men and women or anybody in front of law. They were equal. Second one, right to freedom. Anybody ready to express their feelings, opinion, anybody to others? They have full freedom because it is one of the important fundamental right. Under this right, one who expresses his own opinion to conduct meetings without arms, to establish organization, to live anywhere in India and follow any profession and move around the country. There is no restrictions to go and come, move and return back and anywhere such places. Full freedom is there. But our directive principle state policy given full freedom, but don't make another freedom destruction. That is important. So second one, right to freedom. It is protective right also, and no one can be arrested without proper reason. No state law can snatch the life and freedom of a citizen. See, the policeman came to this place to arrest him. But without the information, without the reason, the policeman and others also don't capture him or arrest him and prison him. Okay, the reason is must. Right against exploitation. Somebody becomes slave in our society. Because the aim of this right to prevent exploitation of women, sati system and widow like that practice, and children enter into the work below the 14 years, and the poor and weaker section of people. So any exploitation do not make in our society. If he did, he is punishable offense. Sometimes begging, the Devdasi system, see, and the practice of sati system, immoral activities and forced labor have been prohibited. So these are all prohibited. The sati system, see, the widow also flung into the funeral ceremony of her husband. So this type of practice is not available. Right against exploitation. Employment of children under 14 years age in minimizing industries and other dangerous occupation is punishable under law. So students are doing their work below the 14 years, that is also prohibited by the exploitation against the right to freedom of religion. No one considered superior or inferior. Everyone celebrate, perform their own religions as they wish. So here India is a secular country. No religion has been given the status of national religion, already given you. Citizens can accept any religion that their consciousness dictates, practice it in propagated. Whatever they want to perform, dictate, celebrate, propagate, everything also available to them because of India is a secular country. No one can force to pay taxes for the management of religious institutions. Use of religious places for political and other activities has been prohibited in the country. But if you want to give money to any institution, okay, but don't force to them to take money or anything else, and don't make any harass in the form of religion and tax. Cultural and educational rights. See, our government has given the cultural and educational rights to all citizens of the country. Have their own language, whatever their language, and their script also their language, their culture also celebrated by them, whatever they want. the duty of the state to protect them. Last one, cultural educational rights. Some points I will explain here. See the such practices. That means this right protects the interest of religious and linguistic minorities. So no one can be denied admission in a government-aided institution or institutions run by minorities. Either minorities or government-aided institution don't alienate the culture and any educational institution don't disturb to particular views of persons. So full permission given to them to celebrate and perform any culture in any educational institution, but don't anything else forcible. Right to constitutional remedies. Last one. The Constitution has given right to remedial. Already problems are there. What are the remedies? Right to constitutional remedies. Such remedies helpful to the development of our society. People, anybody rights to are violated either by a person or a state government violate. Like that conflict or destruction of land, property, anything else, the citizens may appeal directly to Supreme Court for their protection. So if they face so many problems, they will be able to go to Supreme Court or High Court or anything court. But don't be without the prior permission of the government or police station. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has got this right, the heart and soul of the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has quoted about that constitutional remedies, that is the heart and soul of the Constitution. Okay? The Supreme Court is empowered to enforce the fundamental rights, hence it is called the protector of fundamental rights. Supreme Court is the protector of all human being rights. Without the Supreme Court, there is no right to protect. So that is the Supreme did work as per the Supreme. Even the High Courts have the power to pass the following rights under Article 226, also others. Okay. Next we will discuss about the continued part of that lesson. Thank you for watching my video.